This is going to be a long explanation. This is going to be in depth. I am going to. I wish I knew a way to put the chat on the stream without just screen capping it. All right. I mean, I could just screen cap it if you guys really want. Whatever. All right. So, I told my boy where's. So here we go. It's gonna be a bit of an explanation, so bear with me and everything. So let's put this out there, all right? So I'm pretty knowledgeable when it comes to programming because I took a class in it, a couple classes in college, and I know the basics, right? I wouldn't really say I know programming, but I know the basics. I've also played probably more ranked than anyone else that has played Smite. I've probably put more time into ranked than anyone else that's played Smite. That's because I'm a masochist. So, the information I am giving you is not from me seeing the programming, but from experiencing ranked a ton and seeing how it affects other people. And pretty much using the idea of seeing it happen to enough people means that the answer is probably right. All right. So let's first describe what an elo system / matchmaking system, what it's supposed to accomplish, right? So the main goal of a matchmaking system and an elo system, first and foremost, is to put you against players of your skill level that is determined by your current rating or elo, right? Now the goal of this is that eventually you're going to get to a point where you are playing against people your rating and your win ratio is going to slowly or very, very fast hit 50% win ratio. Around the time that you hit 50% win ratio is around the time where you are at your elo or matchmaking rating that you want to be at. That is when you are winning 50% of your games but losing 50% of your games because the people you are against are equal skill to you and are winning 50% of the time. That is the goal of a matchmaking system and elo system. That's not how it works in Smite. Unfortunately. Smite doesn't put you against players individually that match your rating. Smite puts teams' rating against another team's total rating that is about equal. Which is the problem, which is a huge problem. Because it's not, you're not in a game, like if you're 2000 elo, you're not in a game full of people around 2000 elo. You can have someone on your team with 1000 elo because it overall makes your team's overall elo closer to the enemy's team. So yes, when you get to the higher echelon of players, you're going to get into situations where you have really bad teammates because the enemy players have lower elo than you. It happens. Right? Now there's reasons for this and I'll get into that after. Now, like that's the main flaw of the Smite matchmaking system. Right? Now, here's another thing that we're just going to put out in the open. Right? We're just going to look at this real quick. You see this whole system right here? This whole system of TP and Grandmasters and Diamond and Masters and Platinum and Gold and Silver, bronze, and doesn't mean a goddamn thing. None of this means a goddamn thing. This is all fluff. This is not a representation of how your elo is. You have to understand that your bracket is completely independent of your elo. Now, the overall idea is that after a certain amount of games are played, or like just an overwhelming amount of games are played, they will eventually even out, and players of certain elo brackets will be in certain brackets of like gold, silver, whatever the fuck it may be, and that's how it'll be segregated. But that won't always be the case. So the reason why you're seeing a lot of this stuff happen now is because of the catch-up mechanic. People going into the qualifying games, and the elo system is trying to put people where they belong. So it's giving them accelerated win ratios and like TP to try to put them in the bracket they belong. That being said, losing your qualifying games is going to make it easier to get to Grandmasters because of the accelerated TP rate, because of catch-up mechanic nonsense. It's awkward to say, but having a lower elo makes it easier to get higher TP, especially when you're getting more TP per win. When your account has a low amount of wins and a low amount of low amount of games played, you get more TP and elo per win, and less TP and elo per loss. I mean, I'm a good example of it. I lost 4 of my games in my qualifying games, and I went into gold. I got into Masters pretty easy. I don't have a fucking amazing win ratio or any of that nonsense. It's kind of weird. It's kind of So we have to get into our minds right now that this don't matter. This right here is makeup. You know what I'm saying? This is like eyeliner and lipstick. This don't matter. This ain't the actual what's underneath. You know what I mean? This is just the bullshit, you know? This is like when you're at the club and you tell that girl that you work with the movie deal, like the movie theaters or whatever the fuck, right? Like you making movies, but you actually just selling tickets in the movie theater, you know what I mean? Or you work in the concession stand. It's cool. I respect the hustle. You understand. But that's what this is. This don't matter. Especially this early in the season. This don't matter. You're getting matched by the teams by your elo. Eventually this will even out after a long period of time. But they may have made it too easy to rank up too early. They should definitely put caps on how much you can rank up and how fast you can rank up. So now that we know this is nonsense and none of this matters at all, doesn't matter in the slightest. Now that we understand that, let us debunk the whole matchmaking issue. Like let's bring in what I understand to be HiRes's reasoning for what they have done in the matchmaking system. So HiRes's reasoning is there's not a lot of people that play ranked. Or play Conquest for that matter. So for you higher elo players, if we were to put you in queue, you'd have longer queue times. A lot longer queue times. It really wouldn't be surprising if we have 30-40 minute queue times. Maybe even longer. Because games like League of Legends that have millions upon players At the same time, playing ranked, Smite doesn't have that, and they still get 60-minute queues. You can look at the streams. The pro players, I've seen pro players have an hour 40-minute queue. But that's because their queue time doesn't bring in lower elo players and make sure that queue that you're waiting for is going to be a good game. No matter what, that queue you're waiting for, you're going to be against similar rated players. We have opted out of that for Smite. Not only that, but a big issue in Smite that doesn't happen in other MOBAs is the skill gap is huge. The skill gap between a pro player and a good player, not even, a pro player and a really good player is really big. Like, that person could be an amazing player, but he's not SPL quality, and that player will go 0-19. So sometimes it makes the matchmaking look a lot worse than it is. That being said, matchmaking is pretty bad. Have none of my friends qualified? I don't know. But yeah. So what ends up happening is as the time limit goes up, as the timer goes up, the search widens. When you're in a 10-minute queue, the game basically says, okay, I can't find a game of equal players. We need to open this up just a little bit more. And the longer you're in queue after that, the wider it gets. Now, what people don't understand is this isn't only tied to your queue. So people go on record and be like, oh, but I was only in queue for 2 minutes and I got these Go players in my queue. Yeah, but I guarantee you someone in that queue was in queue for fucking 15 minutes. Somebody was waiting 15 minutes to get into that game, which is why that game has such varied elos in it. It's not just your queue. It's other people's queues also. It'll pull you in because your high 2500 elo will even out the fact that you have a 1000 elo player in the team. So now they can put people, let's see, that's 1500. We can put two 1900 elo players on this team, on the enemy team, and it would be okay because this 2500 elo player should be able to carry the 1000 elo player versus the two 1900s. And that's how it'll work. $17.50. There you go. Thank you for doing the math in your head for me. But you understand what I'm trying to say? You guys understand? There's benefits and negatives to this, right? The benefit is we don't have really long queues. As much as you want to complain, 10 minutes are not really long queues. Those aren't long queues. Those are actually rather short queues for MOBAs. Yes, if your elo is too high, you'll probably get bad teammates. So the big problem is, oh wait, I forgot to explain something. Okay, so while yes, Diamond Masters aren't a relation to what your elo is. It's not. But let me answer this big question here. So, how many of y'all have seen tweets about people who are like, man, I keep only winning 8 elo, but every time I lose 16 TP. My bad, not elo. I gained 8 TP, but I lose 16 TP. Why is this happening? How am I supposed to keep progressing? So, there is a built-in system. And the big problem with this system is you can't see the other side. Right? There's two kind of games. There's projected to win games, projected to lose games. When you win projected to win games, you get more TP and more elo. Oh, when you projected to win game, if you win a projected to win game, you gain less TP and less elo per win, but you lose more TP and more elo when you lose. If you win a projected to lose game, you gain more elo and more TP, but you lose less elo and lose less TP. Now, that's the first contingency, I should say, or I might be using the wrong word for this. I apologize if I am. That's the first one. The second line is the system asks, is your elo in the proper range to be in this bracket? Now, I know you guys didn't know about this one. This one's actually really cleverly hidden because you can't see the elo portion. So let's say I'm in Masters. I somehow got on Masters and I have like 200 games played. I'm in my stable amount of TP range. It's not fluctuating very high, whatever. I'm 1500 elo, but Masters elos is supposed to be around 2,000 elo. What the system is going to make me do, it's going to affect my account, is when I win a game, I'm going to get a substantial amount of elo, which you don't see, but I'm going to get less TP. But when I lose, I'm going to lose less elo, but I'm going to lose a lot of TP. That is the game's artificial way of trying to lower your bracket to fit you in the general elo range or idea of whatever the system is declaring that to match, so that they can start saying that the general elo for gold is 1500 to 1700. So if you keep winning in Masters and you're staying in Masters, and your elo is eventually going to be at Masters level. But since we're so early in the season, it's not happening yet. That's how that works. If you win and lose around the same amount of TP, that means that you're winning games. It's either you're winning the games that you're supposed to win and losing the games that you're supposed to lose, or vice versa. And you're pretty much in the bracket you're supposed to be in. Or you're really, really, really early in your games and you have a very low amount of games played. This is still considered a low amount of games played. 100 is still a low amount of games played. So that's how your TP numbers are working, and that's when that's happening. That when you win, you're only getting 8 TP. Understand that your invisible number, your elo, is going up faster than your TP is. There is no stuck. There is no stuck. The moment you get stuck, that is the elo you belong to be in. That is the bracket you're supposed to be in. Theoretically, that's how it works. Theoretically, that's how MMR is supposed to work. Until you become better as a player or a person, you are going to be at that elo for a long time. Something has to click in your mind. Something has to click with your playstyle to learn how to start carrying those games. That's just what it is. Sorry to say, there is no elo hell. That's your skill rating. The thing about it is that HiRes has made this, yes, as a person, actually, because being an asshole will definitely keep you at a lower elo rating. If you are raging at people all the time, people aren't going to play as well. So, literally just being a better person will win you more games. Like I said, practice what I preach, not what I do. I rage at everybody. Everybody sucks dick. I hate everybody. I'm joking. I'm lying. Sometimes I can't control myself, and that goes for everyone else. Ranked is a very hard place to control who you are and how you're acting because it brings the worst out on people. And sometimes you say things you don't mean, and it is better off, instead of holding grudges, to say sorry and apologize to someone and make nice with them later on than continue being a dick with them because you had one bad experience with them in ranked. And if someone is bothering you in the game, annoying you in any way possible, just mute said person and don't talk to them for the rest of the game. You're going to waste your time arguing with it. No one's going to agree with you. Everyone's going to argue with you. It's just going to make it worse. That being said, back to the conversation at hand. Yes. Now, HiRes knows this is how it works. HiRes has intentionally made this work the way it does. I personally think it's flawed. But the reasoning isn't without cause. Well, without justification. Like I said, we don't have enough players that play ranked. 2, the games don't really last long enough to justify really long queues. That being said, the people that are complaining about wanting better matchmaking would complain when they have to wait for 60-minute queues. That's the problem. That's what this is for. Now, there's a lot of discussion with like PBM, DJ Pern, bunch of other people that want to do in-houses and want to treat it like CSGO where they have in-houses. Now, this is good and this is bad. Right? It's good because they're going to get quality games all the time. But it's bad because we already don't have enough players. And the problem with this is that since we don't have as many players as the other games do, there will rarely be more than one room being made. And everyone's going to want in that one room because that's where the best players are going to be. And that's going to be where the players who play the most are going to be. It's going to develop cliques. It's going to develop a list of people to get in, like it did last time. And eventually people just aren't going to play it because they're not going to want to be replaced randomly to bring someone who's better than they are. There ends up just being a list. It's what always happens. We don't have enough pros that play enough to do that. It's just what it is. And even if you did, there's no saying you're going to have enough people to play each role correctly in those in-houses. Not only that, but I think a lot of people's idea of what ranked is flawed. Ranked is just ranked. That's all it is. It is something to do when you're not playing competitive play, but you want to play something harder than casual play. People are expecting too much out of ranked. Playing ranked isn't what makes you a good player. That's not what it's for. To be good at ranked is learning how to do more than what you're expected to do. Playing ranked is learning how to carry people on your team to victory that might not necessarily deserve winning. It's winning those games that you're not supposed to win. It's doing the extra work to win those games. That's what ranked is. Ranked isn't competitive play. Becoming a better ranked player doesn't necessarily mean becoming a better competitive player. It's actually a possibility that becoming a better ranked player will make you a worse competitive player. And you kind of just have to accept that. Especially when the skill gap is so large. It's not about qualifying. That being said, another bad thing about the in-houses, it's going to segregate the community some more. Less players playing ranked. Less streamers playing ranked. Less people, less viewers are being encouraged or inspired to play ranked. It's going to make the player base in ranked smaller. You guys might not believe that, but it's the actual truth. Also, ranked is a nice place for regular Joe Schmoes to interact with pros. It's a good place to discover talent. You might see someone who has potential to be a competitive player through ranked. Your chance of doing that when all you do is host in-houses and all you do is play with the best players in the world because you're not inviting anyone new, it's probably not going to happen. Probably not going to happen. You're limiting how much new blood you're going to bring into the community. It's bad. It's not the option. If ranked players, if pro players really want a good atmosphere of always having top tier games when they play ranked, they're going to have to expect longer queues. That's how that works. That's how that works. The best way for them to do this, is to contact Hi-Rez, not in a angry Twitter post, but for the pro players, the streamers, everyone to get together and demand Hi-Rez change the way the game plays. Well, the game matches the games. That's it. No just solo posts by themselves. None of that nonsense. They need to actually get together and ask or even demand that they change it. That's the only way. These random Twitter discussions aren't going to work. These random complaining on stream isn't going to work. None of that stuff is going to work. Got to give them a complete, organized reason as to why. That's how it works. It's the only way it's going to work. No other way. But yes, in conclusion, rank system is flawed. Oh, I forgot to explain. I am sorry. This video is very, 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 very horribly managed and organized because I do these videos on my stream. I don't really do them. I don't really organize them beforehand. I do them on my stream. It's kind of just a video that I put out there because I'm explaining it to the viewers while I stream. So, I apologize. Not very organized. The reason why you see Smite players very angry on Twitter and complain about ranked and all this other nonsense is this matchmaking purposely makes you lose. When you are winning too much, the matchmaking goes out of its way to try to make you lose. Progressively, your teammates will get worse the more you win. Until the point where you can't carry anymore. Instead of trying to put you against players that can beat you on even ground, it'll give you a really, really, really uneven matchup. It'll literally try to find an impossible game for you. Why? Because the underlying goal in the matchmaking is to get you at 50% win ratio. That's the goal for matchmaking. The problem is the matchmaking runs into a question. Adapting is this much better than everyone at his skill level. How do we make adapting lose? There's no one of equal skill level to him. Well, it's time to stack the enemy team against him. Yes, 5-man queue would make it worse. That's how that works. I don't know how casual 5-man queue works. I can't answer that for you, Shadow. That's why that happens. That's why you see these players randomly rage, and they will lose 16 points on that game. Yes, they will. They will lose 16 points on that game. So, you ever wonder why a pro is complaining about an impossible game, and they're saying that their players are really, really bad? That's the system doing what it's designed to do. Because it is really, 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 really difficult to find an even matched game for a player like Adapting or other pro players when the amount of players that are playing the game is so small. It feels like it will never... I don't think we're ever going to be able to get to that point where that's going to stop. I'm not talking about BMing people. I'm talking about them getting angry on Twitter and saying that they're getting really bad players. It's because it probably is happening. It does happen. It doesn't really happen to you low elo players, but there will be times where you low elo players will get put into a game with, let's say you have 1300 elo, all of a sudden you randomly queue. Why am I in Barracuda's game? I'm sorry, and this isn't to make you feel bad, but you're the weight on Barracuda's back. You didn't magically gain a lot of elo and deserve to be in that game. You're there to you're the handicap. That's how that works. That's what that is. As unfortunate as it is, you are the handicap. You are there to make Barra lose because his elo is too high and they couldn't find an even game for Barra where he can lose based on the enemy skill level. 2,000 elos is pretty good. It's pretty average. No, it's way higher than average. It's like top 3%. Sorry. So, I'm pretty sure that explains everything I gotta explain. If I missed anything, please tell me. I understand it's literally been like a 30-minute video, and I apologize. There's probably are things that I'm missing. There's probably things that I didn't explain correctly. If anyone has any questions, please send me a message. Talk to me on my channel. Talk to me on YouTube. I'll respond. Message me on Twitter. I'll respond on that too. And please follow. Leave a comment. I'll respond. Love you.